Chapter 1. The city stood drenched in a blanket of grey. Rain fell in steady sheets, washing over the industrial skyline, its steel beams reflecting the dim light of an overcast sky. The streets, slick and deserted, seemed to reflect the mood of the people who inhabited this place, a slow, heavy resignation to the humdrum of their daily lives. The air was thick with dampness, the kind that settles deep into the bones, a constant reminder that nothing ever really changes. Inside a modest apartment on the edge of the city, Jonah sat hunched on his worn-out couch, flicking through channels. The TV was just noise, nothing to focus on, nothing to care about. His eyes barely registered the screen. The dim light from the window barely pierced the curtains. It was Saturday morning, but time felt irrelevant. He leaned over to the small counter, where an old coffee maker sat. The process was automatic, grinding the beans, filling the water, pressing the button. The smell of fresh coffee began to fill the air, a small comfort in the quiet chaos of his life. He wasn't awake, really, just going through the motions. The phone rang, sharp and insistent, cutting through the silence. Jonah glanced at the screen and saw his boss's name flash across it. "Hey, Jonah." His boss's voice came through the line, sounding professional, but with an edge of concern. "The cops called. They're asking about an incident in the parking lot about a month ago. They want to know who was driving the van." Jonah felt a cold flush run through him. He gripped his cup tighter, as though it might steady his hands. "Oh, I see," Jonah said, his voice low. "Careful. I'll explain it all to them. Thanks for letting me know." The line went dead. Jonah put the phone down slowly, staring at it as if it might offer an explanation. The memories of that day came flooding back, the dull thud as his van bumped into another car, the panic that followed. It was such a stupid thing, a minor accident in a nearly empty parking lot. But in the moment, Jonah had been overcome with a wave of shame. His first instinct was to leave. So, he did. He pulled away, driving off without leaving a note or checking to see if the owner was around. He couldn't face it. And now, a month later, it had come back to bite him. The consequences would come crashing down any minute. Jonah's hand trembled slightly as he took another sip of his coffee, the warmth offering little comfort against the cold dread creeping up his spine. He couldn't escape this. It was like a trap closing in around him, and he had no idea how to get out. The phone rang again. Jonah's heart skipped a beat. He glanced at the screen. It was a local number. A police officer. "Jonah, this is Officer Harris." The voice on the other end said, crisp and formal. "Are you home?" "Ah, yeah," Jonah said, his throat dry. "I'm home. We're outside. I'll be coming up to take a look at the van." Jonah felt the blood drain from his face. The weight of the situation settled in. He was caught. "I'll be out in a minute," Jonah muttered before hanging up. He took a quick breath, trying to steady himself, and put the coffee cup down. The morning routine, now far behind him, was slipping into a strange, unavoidable chaos. He stood up, feeling the weight of his every movement, like he was walking in someone else's shoes. Jonah changed quickly, not bothering to check himself in the mirror. There was no point anymore. He walked outside into the damp, heavy air. The rain had lightened slightly, but the grey clouds still clung to the sky like a shroud. Officer Harris stood by the van, his jacket pulled tight against the weather, snapping pictures of the damage Jonah had caused. His expression was a mixture of frustration and judgment. Jonah approached hesitantly. "You know, Jonah, running away from the scene doesn't make this go away," Officer Harris said without looking up, his tone sharp. "You're lucky we didn't have to go any further with this, but you need to come down to the station. We'll need your statement." Jonah nodded, not sure what else to say. "I'll be there soon," he muttered. The officer gave him a look, then turned and walked away without another word. Jonah stood there for a moment, the rain running down his collar, his mind racing through the mess of consequences ahead. He turned back into the apartment and picked up his phone again. It was ringing. "What now?" Jonah muttered to himself, almost exhausted by the series of bad news. The screen read landlord. He sighed. "Yeah, Jonah, what's going on?" The landlord's voice was thick with concern. "I've got a cop standing outside your door. What's all this about?" Jonah closed his eyes, rubbing his temples. "It's a misunderstanding," he said, his voice hoarse. "I'll explain it. Just don't worry about it." The landlord didn't sound convinced. "You better get this sorted out, Jonah. I'm gonna need some answers. We don't need trouble here. I'll handle it," Jonah replied, his words barely above a whisper. He hung up quickly, feeling the weight of it all. Jonah turned slowly and walked over to the window, looking out at the relentless storm. The city, grim and uninviting, stretched out before him. The future felt heavy, filled with questions he couldn't answer. He was caught in a spiral, one bad choice after another. And it seemed like there was no way to escape it. As the rain continued to pour, Jonah took a long, steady breath. Whatever came next, he wasn't sure he could handle it. But deep down, he knew the worst was yet to come.